Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is James. Today we'll be jumping over to YouTube's Video Hot List playlist, a playlist made up of new release music videos featuring artists from all around the globe. For today, I think we're going to be going with Metallica and their new song, If Darkness Had a Sun. So I think this will be pretty interesting to give you a bit of a backstory on my introduction into becoming a musician. I believe Metallica's song Master of Puppets was within the first 5 songs that I learnt how to play on guitar. So I'm pretty familiar with Metallica, but I'm interested to learn about Metallica's upcoming album. Let's get a bit more information on what's happening with Metallica at the moment. Alright, for those who don't know Metallica, Metallica is an American heavy metal band. The band was formed in 1981 in LA by vocalist and guitarist James Hetfield and drummer Lars Ulrich, and has been based in San Francisco for most of its career. The band's fast tempos, instrumentals, and aggressive musicianship made them one of the founding Big Four bands of thrash metal alongside Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. Metallica's current lineup comprises founding members and primary songwriters Hetfield and Ulrich, longtime lead guitarist Kirk Hammett, and bassist Robert Trujillo. Guitarist Dave Mustaine, who formed Megadeth after being fired from the band, and bassists Ron McGovney, Cliff Burton, and Jason Newsted are former members of the band. So now on to what Metallica are currently up to. On November 28th, 2022, the band released the single Lux Eterna and announced their 11th studio album, 72 Seasons, is slated for release on April 14th, 2023. On January 19th, 2023, Metallica released another single titled Screaming Suicide. So I've listened to Lux Eterna and I've also listened to Screaming Suicide. My overall thoughts are a bit hit and miss, so I'm interested to see what my reaction will be for this new song. So let's get to it. Okay, 2 minutes and 34 seconds into the song. My first thoughts are, does the intro have to be that long? Personally, I don't think so. There was, to me, what felt like a very awkward transition from intro to verse, which I have some theories on. I might drop them at the end of the video. As for the verse into the chorus, I mean, the verse pretty standard, nothing really too interesting going on there. Something that struck me with the chorus there was James Hetfield's singing voice. I feel naturally he's used to being a bit more gruff sounding when it comes to the choruses, where here it felt like he was holding back a little bit and the gruffness that's usually there in his voice was subdued, which I like that. I like that there's something different. As we learnt before, you know, this upcoming album is going to be Metallica's 11th studio album, so I like hearing something a little bit different from Metallica. As for the rhythm section in there, with the bass and drums, Rob's definitely holding it down tight. That's his job. He does very well at that. Lars doing his thing. We had some lead guitar in there, which was cool. A lot very familiar, but some little pieces here and there which is different, which is nice to hear. All right, moving on. Again, we get something a little bit different from James with his vocals there. That's really cool. I like that. All right, I realized what it was. It's the vibrato on James's voice, which is different, as well as it being a little bit cleaner, not as gruff as usual. Cool. All right, so we had a little bridge section in there, which led into the solo. Again, nothing too out of place for Metallica. You know, we've got Kirk ripping away at a guitar solo, which is nothing really out of the ordinary. And then after that, we got that sort of pre-chorus, and then again into a chorus where, again, we see a little bit of a different side of James Hetfield's vocals, and we get that sort of play of call and response in the vocal lines as well, which was really nice and just added something a little bit different to what we'd heard in previous choruses, which is nice. Always a good technique to use to keep things interesting. All right, let's see what the last minute of this 7-minute song has in store. Okay, not a bad outro there from Metallica. Really, the only other little thing I picked up on there was a riff that's featured in the solo section of the song. That particular riff is probably the only sort of standout thing for me, which is a little bit different stylistically. To me, it felt a little bit more in the realm of progressive metal, or even sort of a bit of a metalcore kind of influence with the palm muting, kind of almost like a breakdown section that you would find in a metalcore or progressive metal kind of song. But other than that, overall, a pretty stock standard Metallica song, other than some of those little interesting vocal lines and techniques that we got from James Hetfield, which I feel are a little bit new here, or definitely we haven't heard James use that kind of vocal style within the heavier Metallica songs of the past. Visually, for the film clip, the first minute or so was pretty strong. It definitely fits thematically with the storytelling of the lyrics, and which is then reinforced by just the style of music. But after that, it kind of got a bit lackluster, a little bit boring for me. I feel with this type of song where, not having read through the lyrics, I can hear that there's a pretty strong story. So what I would have liked to see is that story being played out in the video clip, which I think would have been much more compelling and would have just reinforced the themes that I believe James probably wants you to think about and feel. Now, as for the production, this will be definitely a hot topic for debate. It's pretty well known, and there's definitely been a lot of controversy since the early 2000s regarding Metallica's studio production. As for the drums, can pretty easily tell they're sample replaced and definitely grid aligned. There's really just no natural sound in there that I can hear. As for the bass, it's sitting in there, it's doing its job. It's a little bit hard to hear it sometimes, and that's a bit of a running joke as well with Metallica. As for the guitars, you know, the rhythm guitars sound fine, pretty Metallica sort of sounding rhythm guitars. Although the lead guitars have a little bit more of a very specific stylistic tone to them, which I think some people will hate, some people will love. To me, I kind of like it. It really jumps out and is very bitey and scratchy sort of sounding, which just sort of distinguishes itself from everything else that is going on, which is pretty busy. As for the vocals, James sounds great, and particularly when it comes to some of the different vocal styles that we heard from James in this song, they sounded pretty nice as well. Some good layering, good mixing, and some good effects with reverb and a little bit of delay on there. Now, my theory as to what led to the weird feeling transition featured there in the intro, again, something which has been a bit controversial with Metallica, has been the decline of Lars Ulrich's drumming over the many years, which I feel might have contributed to that. I'll have to go back and have a listen to see if it affects me in the same way, but my initial thought is that. So with that out of the way, let me know what you guys think of Metallica's return for their upcoming 11th studio album. Let me know what you think of this new song, If Darkness Had a Sun. If you are a fan of Metallica, when did you become a fan? Was it Master of Puppets days? Was it Reload? Was it Saint Anger? Let me know. I would love to hear your Metallica stories. All right, that's it for this one. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.